Okay, good evening. This is the annual meeting of the Council as Trustee of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund. We've got a fairly lengthy agenda in terms of items, but I'm hoping a number of these, because they're reconfirmations of documents, policies, procedures, and hopefully we can get through it at a reasonable pace, but we shall see. So first of all, Town Park, are there any apologies for absence received?
So Mr Mayor, we have an apology from Councillor Coulcard to say he will be attending, but he will be late.
Okay. And Councillor Gray?
Gray, sorry, for travel commitment.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda this evening. Are there any? Right, thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 3, and this is minutes of the previous meeting and committees. So I'll try and come up into 3 sections. So the first one is to approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of STC as trustee of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund, held on 17th March 2025, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in the agenda, and that's attachment 1A. Are there any comments on those minutes? And if not, can somebody propose them? Councillor Pennington? Somebody second? Councillor Fortescue? Vote on those?
Quick for me. Come on.
3 abstentions. Yeah, 3 abstentions.
Thank you. So moving on to number 2, to receive the minutes of the Finance Committee meetings held on the 19th of February 2025, 12th of March 2025 and the 16th of April 2025. That's attachments 1B, 1C, 1D. Any comments on any of those minutes? No? Anybody have to propose? Councillor Hungerson and seconding Councillor Green. And vote.
I have to abstain on 2 of them, so take your pick.
Which one would you like to abstain on? Which one would you like?
D and E.
Abstaining on D and E.
D and E, otherwise okay.
Thank you. Details always good.
You get more tonight.
not too much, I hope. And finally, to receive the minutes of the Museum and Archives Committee extraordinary meeting held on the 7th of March, attachment 1E. Councillor Ripley is proposing, Councillor Pennington seconding, and the vote.
6 abstentions.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, public participation. 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect to the business on the agenda and other matters if time permits. Do we have any requests tonight?
No requests, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on to agenda item 5, we have payment schedules to work through. There's a lot of attachments on this, so I will, and these have all been to the STBF Finance Committee for people to be aware of, but that doesn't preclude any comments in this meeting. So 5A, we've got a request to receive the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund payment schedules for mid-February, end of February, end of March, mid-March and the end of April. Do we have any comments on any of those payment schedules? If not, would somebody like to propose?
I'll propose.
Councillor Black and Councillor Tomlin seconding. Yep. And vote. Thank you. At 5B, we've got a request to receive the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall payment schedules for the end of January, mid-February, end of February, mid-March, end of March, mid-April, end of April, mid-May and end of May. Do we have any comments on any of those payment schedules? No? Do we have a proposer? Councillor Reid and the seconder, Councillor Morehouse. Vote. Okay. And finally, at 5C, we are asked to receive a museum and archives payment schedules for the end of January, mid-February, end of February, end of March, end of April, mid-May and end of May 2025. Now the end of May is a new payment schedule, so I'm just flagging that up. Whilst the others have been to the committee, the final one hasn't. Do you have any comments on any of these? Proposed. And Councillor Marie. Vote. Thank you.
So was that Councillor Black that proposed?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
No, it was Councillor Moore.
Oh, Councillor
Sorry.
Moore, thank you.
They're very similar. But
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Marie, you second.
I second it. Certain levels of high intelligence.
Okay. Agenda item 6. So I'll section these out into 3 chunks. The first section is the cash book and bank reconciliations, and that's attachments 3A to 3D, and we're asked to receive the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund cash book as of 31st of March 2025, to receive a bank reconciliation for Sandwich Tollbridge Fund as of 31st of March 2025, to receive a bank reconciliation for Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall as of 31st of March 2025, and finally to receive a bank reconciliation for Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Museum as of 31st of March 2025, and again all these have been to committee for review. Any comments? Councillor Pennington's proposed and Councillor Marie's seconded. Okay. The next section is the budget variance report, and that's to receive budget variance report for Sandwich Tollbridge Fund as of the 31st of March 2025, to receive a budget variance report for the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall as of the same date, and finally to receive a budget variance report for the museum as of the same date, and there are attachments 3E to 3G. Any comments?
No.
Move from Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Green. Councillor Green.
Yeah, excuse me, but I've raised a comment with the RFO about attachment 3, which is to do with the contribution from Sandwich Tollbridge Fund, £53,000, which is showing an actual net. And I understand there's a glitch on the system, which is going to be investigated. And
Okay.
so I look forward to hearing the outcome of that.
And could I just check which attachment does that refer to?
That's attachment 3F.
3F, thank you. So that's noted, and response will come back to Councillor Green in due course.
Yep.
Okay. And I did have a proposer. Second. I did. So Councillor Reid, and who proposed it? Was it Councillor Pennington? And alert votes on those. Okay. And finally, under this agenda item, we have the investments to look at. So it's to receive and approve the Quilter Cheviot Assets Management Monthly Investment Report as of the end of April 2025, and that's attachment 3H. Do we have any comments on this? Councillor Anderson.
Yes, it's my usual comment, and I'm just trying to find it, but the comparative data is really, again, very unimpressive for the whole year. So the 30th of April 24 to the 30th of April 25, the total return was 3.4%. But if you look at the benchmark, which is their own charity benchmark, the return is 5.9% over the same period. So I do wonder what is going on. That's my first comment. And the second comment is that I think at the last meeting looked up the website of the Charities Aid Foundation, which I strongly recommend for all sorts of reasons to this committee, because we are running a charity, and they offer a rather better return than we're getting. And I know that Councillor Green has been concerned with looking at other possibilities, so which would offer higher returns. So I would like that minuted.
So what I would say is, where we discussed it, Councillor Anderson was at the Finance Committee as opposed to here.
Yes.
It is on the agenda for this Wednesday, for us to discuss in the round whatever has been found out since the last meeting and where we want to go with it. So it is an agenda item.
But that's the finance and general purposes.
So no, the STBF Finance meeting,
Oh, right.
which follows the
Okay.
so it's definitely an agenda item.
Right.
So you're right, we have discussed it within that forum. But I think there's a question, a sensible question around the benchmark. If it's possible for Town Clerk to have an answer for the committee on Wednesday about the disparity between the two figures, and there may be an explanation. Well, I'm sure there will be, but it would be good to have it.
I mean, there seems to be a dagger beside it, but I couldn't find the what. Oh, hang on.
Sword and Damocles, is it?
Yes, I can see what the dagger's referring to, but it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so we can feed that into Wednesday's discussion. And if you have got the ability, or have had the ability to speak to the
The Charities Aid Foundation, yes.
it would be helpful to have that.
Well, I don't think it's necessary to speak to them. I think it's necessary just to look at their website.
Yeah, which I think a number of us did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Marie.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just quick to clarify, are we due a visit from CBA? Normally they visit us yearly to discuss the investments and what they do and stuff. Normally it's a year thing. We've done it the last couple of years. I want to see if they're coming back again to speak to the council or to the Tollbridge Fund.
Well, they were here, I think, in the autumn last year. I think it's September, October time. I can check back.
Yeah.
But I think they'd be happy to come in any time that you wanted to. I think they've been in at least, I think it was twice last year.
Yes, because we changed the fund itself. So
Maybe we can get an understanding and an answer for what Councillor Anderson has said regarding the differences in the percentages.
my personal view is we don't get a great deal of deep analysis from them in terms of its
And just
performance is a performance, unfortunately.
don't forget we're on a medium to low
We are.
system as
No,
well.
we're not. We're
We're
medium.
medium high, yes.
And I think we're medium high.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, got all that.
Thank you very much. Okay, is somebody happy to propose that we receive and approve the report? Councillor Black and Councillor Green seconding. To do that. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 7, that's drawdown request from investments. So the trustee is to consider a request from the interim RFO to draw down £30,000 from the STBF investments to top up the STBF account. This amount is within the approved budget of £65,300 that we've already approved for 25-26. Are there any comments, any questions on that request? If not, are we happy to propose?
Propose.
And seconding, Councillor Ripley. Votes. Thank you very much. Right, okay. So as this is the annual meeting of the trustee, there are a number of standing matters that we're now asked to review, and they run through from agenda item 8 to 16. So the first is a review of standing orders, terms of reference and financial regulations. And that's under standing order 5.c.iv, 4, 5 and 6. We're asked to receive and adopt standing orders, terms of reference and financial regulations for 25-26. Are there any comments on those, or Councillor Fortescue?
Yes, I'd like to suggest a very minor change. So this is attachment 5, page 6, UY1, and I suggest that it might be the date, time and place of the meeting, as opposed to just the time and place of the meeting.
Happy to have that noted, thank you very much. That's reasonable. Councillor Green?
Yes, on page 17, or item 17, under the financial controls, under the proposed drafting for Y, it says responsible finance materials, services and the execution of works. Responsible finance materials. This
Sorry.
doesn't make sense to me.
Sorry, Councillor Green, which page are we?
We're on page 15,
It's
item 17,
17.
and then redrafting under Y.
I think it's B.
Oh,
It's
maybe
it's
I've forgotten
B.
my best specs on.
Which one is it?
It's the second point
yeah.
in red.
Oh, okay.
Responsible finance materials, services and the execution of works. I don't,
We're talking about financial regulation.
Yeah, so can you see that? So here, it's
No.
on page 15.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
So it's
A5.
So the question is, I suppose, does that make sense?
correct.
What?
Yeah, so
What are-
it's the terminology that is used, that's what I've taken it from the financial regulations template. I mean, if you don't want materials included, we could take that word out.
Oh, it's just a responsible finance materials.
What does it mean?
It means paperwork, surely, doesn't
It's
it?
the word responsible.
Yeah, responsible is the problem.
Anyway, we don't necessarily need to
No.
resolve it now,
No.
it's just to do with checking that.
So responsible finance materials encompass resources and information related to ethical and sustainable financial practices. So it does mean something.
All right.
I don't know if that's made any better.
No,
but it
is
certainly has
that
got.
defined in the document?
I've just done that as a Google search.
Okay. All right.
Could that be incorporated?
You have
Definition.
information.
In parentheses or whatever.
Sorry?
In parentheses or whatever.
I would like to make, I think if, I mean, I'm sure these things have been thrashed out, if it, other people have thrashed out. And if, I think the further we move away from templates, the less good, because when things change, which they inevitably will, we'll already have changed things, and then we'll have yet another argument about how we change things to accord with the way other external things have changed. And I just think the closer we can stick to templates, the better.
I think that's a good point, because actually there is an explanation available. So if
Yeah.
anybody's really interested in drilling down into this, and it was the question was right, but actually there is an explanation available. So I think we should leave it rather than trying to add more and more text into something that should be a template-driven set of.
I'm happy with that, but as lay people, lay councillors reading something like this, or the responsible finance or financial officer reading it, do people really understand the terms if they're going to comply with it? So maybe, there's a course for training or education or whatever.
I'm sure future councillors will, like us, Google AI or whatever the
AI is
verb
brilliant.
and find the definition.
Okay, so
Not to die in the ditch on this.
No, thank you. It's a healthy debate. I think there might have been a second. Oh, it was Councillor Pennington.
Well, seconding motion.
Oh, wait, did somebody propose it?
No.
No, not yet. So there was a question. Councillor Black was the arm or the hand I saw.
Yeah. I've got a total of 5 amongst these documents. First one is if you look at the standing orders, 3K. That's page 5 of the standing orders. I didn't think we stood at STBF meetings. That's what it says here. We don't, so that's incorrect. The next one, that's on page 5, section 3K. A person will raise his hand and stand when speaking.
Yeah, so I'll take out and stand.
Please. Okay, and then the next one I've got, and I'm going to rush through these as quick as I can, is the next one is 20B of this, so let me find the page.
Page 17, is it?
Sounds something like that, yeah, 20B. I have no problem with ensuring that when councillors post items on social media in their capacities as sandwich town councillor, the post is confined to fact. I start getting worried when the town council starts interfering in private email accounts and personal social media. I'm sorry, I don't think the council has any jurisdiction over personal social media and private email accounts, and I would like to have that deleted. It's the last sentence. It's a democratic system that we have, that we can say what we care to within the law, not within council.
So if I recall correctly, we have discussed this before, at least once, if not twice, but I think the discussion, if I remember rightly, was around the fact that it was making sure that we were also aware that a line couldn't be completely drawn between the public face as a councillor and the personal profiles, and I accept the point you're making about restrictions when you're in as a private citizen, but I'm almost certain we did debate this quite extensively again. So are there any other alternative views?
I do feel there's something similar in the social media policy that the STC hold. My personal opinion would be is to fact check before you post anything online with the town clerk. That's what I would suggest. That would be a better idea, because then if you do get it wrong, yourself, then you could be liable for, as we all know, complaints and bits and pieces on social media. That's my opinion anyway.
So I think as it's specific to facts, I think actually if you choose not to use a fact within a personal post, I don't see that the council should or could actually impose its jurisdiction on that.
Right. So how is it going to be amended?
Yes. How would you like it amended? Have you got a proposal?
No, I haven't. I said take the last sentence out.
Yeah, there was a case 2 or 3 years ago, you may recall, where I posted something about a planning issue as myself, not as a councillor, and that was reported to the monitoring officer. The monitoring officer said, you're okay, it's your personal account. So I don't think that should be deleted. I think there should be something that just says, when you're posting in a personal capacity, you know, be careful, be mindful of your role as a councillor, something to that effect.
I would have no problems with wording like that, but it's that the attempt of the council to control my private email is not acceptable in a democratic society.
Are you happy to revise that? Have you got enough information to revise it?
So do you want me to completely reword that sentence? And
So the suggestion is that consideration should still be given to, what's the wording that you use, Councillor Wiles?
Well, I just change it to when councillors are using their private email accounts and personal social media, they should be mindful of their role as a town council.
Chair, we've all signed a code of conduct.
Exactly, we need to look at the
Just
code of
clarify
conduct.
for the
This
social.
is, sorry, let's just, don't forget, this is as trustee as well, so this is relating to the charity, so not as a councillor.
Okay.
To my mind, Councillor Wiles' suggestion is acceptable.
I'm happy to second that if Councillor Wiles is proposing that. We can take it to a vote and decide.
Can I just make a suggestion, sorry, Mr. Mayor? Maybe it'd be a good idea for us as a trustee for the charity to bring a social media policy within the Tollbridge Fund as well as STC, or incorporate the STC one within the Tollbridge Fund. Because I don't think there is one for the Tollbridge Fund.
I think there is one for the Tollbridge Fund,
Right,
but it has
okay.
been reviewed. So
Right, okay.
Well, we'll check that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fine.
My personal opinion would be, if I'm doing council work or Tollbridge Fund work, I would give my council emails. I wouldn't use personal emails.
No. No, okay. Can we vote on that minor amendment from Councillor Wells? Councillor Wells?
Yeah.
I think that's 2 down.
If we go to the financial regs, 7.8, before employing interim staff, the trust must consider a full business case.
Can we just get there first?
Yes, certainly. Page 121 of the rather voluminous notes. 121 of the total package. I don't think there's a page number.
This is financial regs.
Financial reg 7.8.
Nearly with you. Yep, I'm there.
My concern is we should have at least consideration of the business case. It depends what you mean by full. I would be reluctant to delete it completely and say before employing interim staff, the trust must consider a business case or an outline business case. I agree with the thing about if you're employing somebody part-time, 10 hours a week and so on, you don't necessarily need the full business case. I'll accept that.
Sorry, the reason I put that is because we've had recent incidents where obviously the RFO, we needed an interim RFO, we couldn't wait.
No, right.
So that's what I'm saying, there isn't time quite often, and we're in such a situation where we've got somebody long-term sick, where we had the toilets without anyone to clean, so all these are interim roles, which I've had to do very quickly and at pace, and I wouldn't be able to have capacity to write a business case every time something happened.
Yeah, so would any of those decisions of employing anybody have been taken without business justification?
No.
So I think it's business justification.
That's the point there. But we don't need a great long screed
No,
about it.
you need to, yeah, and that would include financial information as well as the need itself. Okay, thanks.
9.4, which is on the following page, I think. Any sums found to be irrecoverable and any bad debt shall be reported to the trust and shall be written off in a year. The first part, yes, happy with that, but are we really saying that every bad debt will be written off in 1 year? That strikes me as a bit excessive.
That's what's been there previously, and I didn't, pursue changing that. Obviously, if you
I obviously wasn't on the case at the time.
That's all right.
I'm just questioning whether we should put it as a matter of policy. We will write off every debt.
I think that's a good point, because if there's a debt that can clearly be recovered in the future, then perhaps it should roll on to the next year.
I think should be considered to be written
That's
off.
exactly
I'm
right.
happy with
Yeah.
that. And the last one I've got, you'll be pleased to know, is 14.1. It really is. I take it we're making a lot of good progress in getting the deeds, title deeds, and together. But have we still got a number? I know we have a number of gaps, but are we getting things coming together with yourself and with property and so on?
Yes, so there have been reports to the committees.
Yeah.
There was a recent report that the property manager did
Yes.
that highlighted what was missing, and so yes, there is progress, but there is still work to be done.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments? If not, happy to propose them, Councillor Black?
I'll propose them.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, can I
Yes.
just clarify as well, where we're talking about this, before employing interim staff, the trust must consider, do you want the business justification?
Yes, just a business justification
Yeah.
is the key thing, not a business case.
So just to be clear, before I can employ any interim staff, I need to ask the trust to meet, to seek my
No, I don't think that's correct.
No,
I don't think
no.
so. I don't think that.
No, you would consider the business justification. We need somebody tomorrow, so you've got a sound justification
that's
for
Then we come to the
Yeah.
next meeting.
and report to them,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not suggesting you have to come to a full committee
I know,
and so on.
and it doesn't need to say that, it doesn't at the moment, so, yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Watts?
Yeah, I mean, by definition, an interim staff member is replacing someone who's gone. So
Yeah.
it's not
Yes.
new.
No.
So my view would be the town clerk makes that decision perhaps in consultation with the mayor,
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
and then
reports back
Yeah,
to the next
that's fine.
meeting.
But that's my thinking. It needs to be, at least we need to have some Keep them looking, and very quick look at it saying, it's needed, come on, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Councillor Bax proposed, seconded, Councillor Marie. Unanimous? Yeah, thank you very much.
One was that abstention, Councillor Morris.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Sharp eye.
Agenda item 9, appointment of members of committees and any new committees. Standing order 5C, VI and VII. This is to appoint members of committees for the ensuing civic year as follows. Finance Committee 9 councillors including the Mayor, Museum and Archive Committee 9 councillors including the Mayor. And the decision is to note and no further committees are proposed at this time. So if we could have a look at who we've got listed and see if there are any issues there. Attachment 8. Okay. So under Museum and Archive Committee.
Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, we haven't passed it yet. I'm just making sure that people are content that their names are included, so that's the key
Sorry.
for me.
Yeah.
So, looking at Museum and Archive Committee, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got the 9, so that's 8 plus the Mayor. If we're happy with that, somebody propose. Councillor Black, seconding. Councillor Ripley. And the vote. Unanimous. Thank you. So under the Finance Committee, it's 8 councillors and the Mayor, but we do have 1 vacancy there, so somebody might be really keen to fill that final slot. Councillor Murray.
Happy to if none of the councillors want to. We'll jump up at
Deadly
once.
silence. So I'm happy to accept the proposal from Councillor Murray, and are we happy to somebody to propose the new members with the 1 addition? Councillor Ripley, seconding, Councillor Mallet, and a vote.
I won't vote because I've won
Yes.
the cause.
Thank you very much. Unanimous. Agenda item 10. That's arrangements including legal agreements with other local authorities, not-for-profit organisations and businesses. Standing order 5.c.ix. To note that a review to be undertaken and a report to be produced to a trustee at a future meeting. And that's the same with agenda item 11, which is a review of representation on or work with external bodies and arrangements for reporting back. Standing order 5.c.x. And that's again for a report at a future meeting. Do you have any updates on either of those?
No, I'm sorry, I don't, Mr Mayor.
Okay. Any comments? If not, are we happy to accept and note? So are we happy to propose that we note them? Councillor Ripley and Councillor Marie seconding. Vote. Thank you. Agenda item 12, inventory of land and other assets including buildings and office equipment. Standing order 5.c.xi, and that's attachment 9 in the pack. I just had one question, Town Clerk. I just wanted to clarify on the land at the rear of former Castle Market, which is the car park.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not a management arrangement with DDC, or is it actually leased the half that is ours?
Leased.
We have leased it,
Yes.
which includes a management arrangement.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And that's what's coming up for review in
that's correct.
February next.
Well, it should be this summer, really.
Is it this
Yeah.
summer? Sorry.
Yeah.
I wasn't
The
sure.
deadline is next summer, next year.
Next summer.
Yeah.
Okay. Any comments from anybody on the assets listed? If not, Councillor Anderson?
I thought there was some doubt about who actually owns 2 Market Street. That there's some, possibly it's already owned by DDC.
So the land registry title is not correct at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a work in progress with the property manager.
Okay.
So the situation is that for a long period of time, our assumption is that we do own it. It's just unfortunately the legal documentation hasn't necessarily been looked at any point in that intervening period. So that's what's being updated. So it is within the Sandwich Agreement that actually it features in there as being ours. So there's other documentation which suggests that is the case.
What is the case that we do own it?
We do own it.
Okay.
And that DDC lease it to a third party,
Yeah.
and the rent is between DDC and the third party. we don't have.
And we don't get the benefit of it.
No.
That seems very
Well, it includes the guild halls within the sandwich
Oh,
agreement,
okay.
so there's a lot of information in that agreement that's a good read at night. Any other comments on those assets? If not, somebody have to propose them? Yes, sorry,
I
Councillor.
think with these assets and the STC assets, we need to bring these in much greater detail to both FGP and to this next finance Tollbridge Fund, so that we can have absolute clarity about ownership and leases and everything else. So perhaps for the next meeting.
I think we have had a spreadsheet that's quite
Yeah.
detailed at last
There's
meeting.
a lot of work still to be done.
Yeah, there is, yes. I mean, a lot of anomalies still to be ironed out, but certainly it's a work in progress. But you're right, those finance committees should be monitoring,
Doing the work.
monitoring and managing them. Okay, so have we voted on?
You haven't voted on that yet.
Somebody have to propose, Councillor Wiles, seconding Councillor Black. That's unanimous, thank you. Agenda item 13, which is attachment 10, confirmation of arrangements for insurance cover in respect of all insurable risks. Standing 5.c.xii to receive the insurance cover details in relation to for STC/STBF Zurich for main insurance cover, Beasley for art and civic insignia cover, BHIB for cyber security cover. Are there any comments on any of those insurance covers? Councillor Fortescue.
Could I ask about fire insurance? Looking around this room, I can't help thinking that this room could go up in flames in a matter of minutes. Now, I know we've got a smoke detector here, and presumably in other parts of the building, but I wondered if there should be some sort of risk assessment made as to whether or not we could improve the fire precautions in the building.
So we have had a fire risk assessment undertaken last year.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a refresher of one that had been done a few years ago. So it has been done last year. And the property manager, we've covered off anything that they picked up last year. So it's all up to date.
Thank you.
And Councillor Green and myself, because Councillor Green was very inquisitive, did check some of the fire extinguishers in the last couple of days, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were serviced in the end of May of this year.
We've actually had to buy
And some
6
new ones.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is active.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
question.
I've kind of raised that total issue of compliance, not just the kind of the fire, but the electricity, the gas, the lift, all of those things. Have we got the appropriate certification to verify that the systems are safe, especially for our staff to use because they're using them all of the time, but also for ourselves and for visitors. And the property manager it's a rolling kind of workload, but the evidence that I've seen so far suggests that he's up to date with it.
Thank you, that's helpful. Is somebody happy to propose each of those insurance covers? Councillor Fortescue and Councillor Morehouse is seconding. Thank you very much. Agenda item 14, subscription to other bodies. SO5.c.xii. Trustee is to receive a report that includes a list of current subscriptions for 2025-26, and that's attachment 11. Are there any comments on that? Well, actually, there's only one. Anybody want to raise any comments on that at all? Breakthrough communications? No? Okay. Vote. Councillor Wiles has proposed. Councillor Green seconded. Thank you. Agenda item 15, review of procedures and policies. To note that a review of procedures and policies will be undertaken at the trustee meeting in September. I'm happy to note that. I'll propose that we note it. Somebody have to second. Councillor Marie, and a vote that we note that. Thank you very much. Councillor Knox, just like this. Agenda item 16, date of annual town meeting with trustee 2026. SO 5.c.xviii. Town clerk to propose a date for the annual meeting of a trustee for 2026. After consulting with the new mayor, report for the next meeting. The schedules for the ordinary meetings of the trustee are already adopted and agreed. Happy to note, well, you can ask some note it on, it's just.
Yes, please.
Okay. Happy to propose that we note it. Second, Councillor Marie within quick. And the vote. Very much. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the energy efficiency review for the Guildhall. So agenda item 17, attachment 12. And this is to receive a report from the property manager with an update on the project for exploring energy efficiency at the Guildhall. Members invited to agree the expenditure of the installation and lighting improvements. And I just want to say this has been presented to the Finance Committee previously, and all members voted in favour of the recommendations within the report. And it was a very thorough report, is what we noted, and also passed on our thanks to the property manager for all the work he had done. Now that I've glossed it up, I'm happy to take some comments. Councillor Lars.
Yeah, I think this is an excellent set of proposals. The annual cost is 8,348, total saving 4,600 a year. So it pays for itself within a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's to be recommended, I think.
Thank you.
Proposal, sorry.
And Councillor, yes. We'll sneak that one in. Councillor Moore has seconded it and the vote. Happy to accept that. Unanimous, thank you very much. Right, and really final item, so partial exemption calculation report, agenda item 18. So the trustee is asked to consider a report from the town clerk that details a request to procure the services of a tax consultant to assist with calculating a partial exemption for VAT exempt activities in the Guildhall. So this report was discussed on 3 occasions within the STBF Finance Committee. It included inquiries being made with HMRC. The trustee is now being asked to approve of that work that's required on recommendation from the committee. Is there any more comments? Councillor Ripley.
Just a very brief comment, but I'm very sorry I can't help with this because I used to be a VAT person. I used to work in VAT for many years.
Yeah.
But it's such a long time since I've done it, but I think I'm completely out of date with it.
Noted.
And I wouldn't have charged much.
Okay, any other comments?
I think I commented before.
You have.
Because since we are not charging for VAT for the room part, so I have had a very brief look when Karen was still here.
Yep.
And when I went from the paper she gave me the last few years, we haven't got anything to claim. Which will cost us quite, I don't know how much was it, the auditing company cost. Oh yeah, 2,250 plus VAT. I'm just thinking, it's wasting money, so I don't think I would recommend to do the exercise.
Thank you for that, and that point was made quite clearly, and that's what stemmed us off to go and inquire with HMRC. But when we took back the response and also the advice from the RFO at the time, she was very clear that she wanted that cover in terms of the VAT partial exemption. So we had 2 very clear differing views. I'm happy to propose this because I was on the committee meeting that actually approved it. If somebody's happy to second it.
I'm happy to second it because I think the VAT take a very strong line, and even for kind of small amounts, it's really good for them to make examples of people or companies or councils. So I'm in favour of doing it. It's a form of insurance policy. I'm in favour of it.
If I'm happy to go ahead with it, can we actually suggest in the future from now on, can we actually start charging VAT for room part? We need to charge it then, because then we could, make it work.
We'll note that. We're not going to make a decision off the cuff in terms of that. That's noted, and we can investigate that if that's okay. Yeah. Go to vote. Thank you.
That's my question.
Okay, agenda item 19. dated the next STC as STBF Trustee Annual Meeting, and that's on the 22nd of September 2025. Meeting closed.
Not the ending.
Oh, no, it won't be the annual.
No, sorry, you're right, thank you. I just read it parrot passion. The next meeting will be on the 22nd of September 2025, and it will not be an annual meeting, it will be a standard meeting. Thank you. Got to get it right. And we're closed at 7:40.
I'm impressed.
Which is unbelievable.
I'm impressed.